to that one business and not allow it to go to spread to other businesses out here. But very dangerous situation, a lot of work for these firefighters, and of course, this fire far from out. I'm Stu up in Sky Fox. Back to you guys in the studio. Oh, the buses are going. Yeah. This is the reason why I like moving around. Ugh. No, we're in a backup today. We can't do the map or anything. Yeah, no, we don't. Sorry. You should have woke up. You should have. What was wrong with ours? No, they did all the maintenance. They didn't put the sticker on it? Ugh. Ugh. You know, somebody should call Helenet. This is just paperwork. Son of a gun. Yeah, and you got to figure those are probably 150, maybe more a piece. Yeah. Yep. Copy. Copy. Copy all. Whoa! Oh, did you? And you got that, Vinny? Oh, did you guys see that? That was that was one of the transformers we were looking at earlier on, and it just, yeah, they all blew up, and now there's a huge power outage. Whoa! Yeah, the power just went out in the whole area. Yeah, it is. Positive thoughts. That one's still there. Pallets. Probably used to smell really good down there, all that pine. Ugh. But it was just in the industrial area. The home's not affected. Yeah. Gotta be all. Yeah, you can start like that if you want, but just do a quick push into the flames. Are you guys gonna roll that tape of the electric explosion, the transformers? All right. If you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. It's all good. I'm definitely going to mention it. Kumbaya, my lord. Oh, those buses are really starting to go. Yeah. Yeah, Vinny making a beautiful picture right there, and it does tell the story. Photojournalism, that's what it's all about. This is a huge fire out in the Compton area. Vinny's pushing into what's going on down there. We've been talking about that bus yard, and the flames had been making their way over to that bus yard, and firefighters were trying to slow that progression. Take a look at that. These buses are on fire. There's more buses in that shot right there. And to add to all of this, just moments ago, you can see some of those transformers right there in that shot on that power line. We saw two massive explosions showering the firefighters and the fire trucks down there in sparks from an electrical explosions from those transformers. And then the power went out, not in the residential area, so this is definitely the grid is set up correctly. The residential home area stayed lit, but all this area where the fire is still in darkness. Now this is one of the problems that the firefighters have to deal with, one of the many dangers that firefighters have to deal with. Some of those power lines may have fallen down. They might not be energized now, but the system doesn't know what's going on, automated, so the power lines may come back to life, and these firefighters have to deal and understand that, so this is a dangerous situation for them as well. This is happening in the Compton area. This is going to be Santa Fe and Webb. When firefighters from Compton Fire first arrived out here, that fire well established in that pallet area, and this is what's burning down there. This is a great shot, Vinny. You can see that entire area that's on fire, except for the buses, is basically piles and piles of wood. Those are just wooden pallets out there, along with some industrial equipment, some outbuildings, an office or two, and we've been watching as all of that has been catching fire this morning. The heat's so hot that aluminum melting on some of these trucks before the flames actually got there. So that gives you an idea of the intensity of the heat in that bulk of that fire in the center of that yard. That's one of the reasons why those firefighters couldn't make their way, just kind of go into that yard and get right up on that. And I'm just hearing that we actually have some video where Vinny was on a wide shot. You just don't know when these things explode, but this kind of shows you that number of explosions down there, electrical explosions, as the fire departments are battling these flames, and then all of a sudden you have these huge explosions going off, and in one of them you can actually see those sparks and showering some of those fire trucks. So this is what the firefighters are dealing with. This is how they're trying to fight this fire, contain it. That's all they can do right now. They can't actually get in there and put that fire out, so they're going to let that fire burn. Basically, those pallets burn, but what they can do is they can try to keep it from spreading to the other buildings out there. This is in Compton. You can clearly see this. We're very close to the 105. We're very close to the 710. But this morning, Skyfox, we could see this fire from the Cahuenga Pass making our way down here. No injuries to firefighters, no injuries to civilians. Way. Yep. 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 Sandra Endo. Sweet. Sweet. Copy all. Copy all. I don't know where they put Sandra. I mean, I don't think Fox would be happy with her like right next to the flames, or where those power lines are. Whoa! Perfect timing. Look at Vinny's on it every time. Propane? What do you think? Clearly propane. Yeah, clearly propane. Yeah. Oh. I'm listening. They're having water issues. The hydrants are no good. Water pressure issues. I just turned the scanner back on, and that's what they're talking about. They're trying to pull water from hydrants from Alameda, which is down over here. Copy all. And they're not getting any water. That would explain a lot. Copy all. Not a problem. That's right. It definitely is spreading, and it's making its way from that actual original pallet fire into that bus yard. When we first arrived out here around 5 o'clock this morning, these buses, there was some fire over here, but it wasn't what we're seeing right there. A lot of and these are, not that, money is really the deal right now. What we're looking at is actually the fire but those are very expensive. There's probably more than a couple $1 million worth of buses down there on fire this morning. That's just a row here, and then there's a row also right there as well, and you can see some of those buses starting to take off. What it all started was the corner of Santa Fe and Webb. This is very close to Alameda. Now, we've been listening into how the firefighters are battling these flames, and now we're starting to hear that they're starting to have some water pressure issues. And this is, that's the one thing that the firefighters really need to battle a fire is water. And now they're starting to come up with dry hydrants, meaning some of these hydrants down there not working or not putting out the pressure that they need to put water on this fire. Also, since the morning light's starting to peek in, you can actually see how many more pallets are out there. And if this fire continues to burn, basically it's just going to keep burning all these pallets until there is no more. And the firefighters, they're doing what they can to try to keep these flames from spreading to other businesses. But like we've been watching out here, that bus business on the other side of the fire, this is going to be the north side of the fire, really it continues to burn out there, and they're doing what they can. But now we're hearing this problem with water. This is going to make this firefight extremely difficult. And then Tony and Araxia, we saw those electrical explosions going off, and the high voltage wires coming down, and then of course those explosions showering the firefighters with sparks. It is just an extremely dangerous situation. Thank goodness there has been no injuries that we've heard of as yet. Compton fire, Long Beach fire, LA County fire, they're all down there. But the issues right now is that, they might be having water issues. And that is just, we don't want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. Those firefighters, this is just going to add to their problems this morning trying to battle this. I'm starting to see some of those other buses from that bus yard. We're starting to see some buses moving. We've been watching as employees from different businesses out there trying to move and help the firefighters by getting things out of the way. We watched them move some propane tanks earlier on. Very, very dangerous, but right now I'm sure Property is the concern. Life always the biggest concern, but these aren't homes. So, you know, and there hasn't been any evacuations, and it's a very early morning fire, so most likely not a lot of employees were here when that fire broke out. But property seems to be the big issue right now, and we're starting to see some of school buses in that bus yard starting to move down there. So they're trying to get things out of the way, and it also will help the firefight as if they get the property out of the way. It's something less, one other thing less that will catch fire and burn. But what in a I'm awestruck by the type of fire that's going on down here, the intensity of the flames, and how it continues to spread with some of the professional firefighters down there working to contain these flames this morning. Tony, you know, when I started hearing dry hydrants and low water pressure, you know, my heart just sank. These firefighters, they're doing what they can down there to save this property, and you know, now you're hearing that they don't have what they need to put this fire out. It just makes it even just that much more complicated. And how do you solve that problem? That's really what's on my mind right now. It's like, do you call somebody from the city and they just turn a knob and the water's up? I don't think it's that easy. So right now the firefighters doing what they can with the available resources to try to keep these flames in check. But you see it right there. You've got two master streams up there on the right side of the screen, and then some other some other smaller hand lines over there in the bus yard. But that's all that they really have right now, and it's probably because they're having water pressure issues that just makes this more devastating to watch. Well, you know, Araxia, we have seen in the past in dramatic situations where the fire department will drop water. In this case right now, if they did a water drop, there's a good possibility that when they do a drop like that, it would actually spread the fire, because that water coming down out of the helicopters, everybody just thinks, well, it's just water, but we've actually seen videos where they've done a water drop on a vehicle that clearly it's for display, and that vehicle just becomes crushed by the weight of the water. Now you drop that on a burning building or piles of pallets, that could throw flames and create more of an issue. And then also there's another point of where they're going to get water in this area. So I haven't even heard them talk about it, but I'm kind of curious if, because of the multi-agency situation, you know, LA County, they could bring out a helicopter just to survey it. But this morning, I'm sure they're watching Fox and they're keeping an eye on what's going on, and maybe we're giving them some information or some help to see where these flames are going and how they can contain it. But that water issue, it just, I'm dumbfounded at hearing this, and I really hope maybe Sandra can talk to a fire battalion chief down there or something and get some more information about that, because if they're not getting the water that they need, how are they going to fight this fire? Yep. Copy. Thank you. The buses. The little pallets, yeah. There's fire. Right, they're trying to put up a line and say this is where we're trying to make it stop. Yeah, those are probably a couple $100,000 a piece down there. Yeah. And you saw that one just move. It's probably like The air suspension or the tires are going. Yeah, that's the black smoke that's coming up right now. Thank you. I understand that we're live on Facebook right now, so I'm going to try to join you guys. Oddly enough, I have some internet up here this morning, and I'm getting now. I guess my internet not that good because I'm starting to get weird messages, and they're late. There we go. So there we go. Brenda says the buses are going to explode. I don't think they're going to explode. There might be some explosions down there. Diesel fuel generally doesn't explode, and every now and then you might see a large pop down there, but that's probably going to be because of the tires going off. We were just taking a look at that. Michelle wants to know how I am. I'm good. I'm really, really good. This is a sad situation. We have the luxury of being able to listen to TAC channels and the firefighters talk to each other. And one of the things that we're hearing this morning is that they're having water issues down there. Because, the reality is these fire departments, they are all extremely good at what they do. And that might almost sound like a slight, but it is not. These guys are trained beyond trained, and even though it's a pallet fire, we've seen these in the past, they basically make their way over there and they just kind of surround the building and they just dump tons of water on it. In this case, what's going on is we've been watching and these flames continue to spread, and we understand the intensity of the heat. This is one of the things that I can talk to you guys about on digital media while we're watching this fire. Hang on. So so this is kind of the thing too. When we talk to you guys on the digital media, you have to understand that I'm not dedicated to you guys. I wish I was. I love doing the the talk back, reading about what you guys are interested in, watching what you guys are talking about. But guys and gals. But the reality is this is kind of more behind the scenes. If you hear me talking to somebody else, or if you hear me stop talking, I'm not having a stroke. Yeah, what's up, Haley? Copy. Throw it to Sandra. Okay, copy all. Update. Toss back to the anchors. Copy all. And that's what I'm just talking about with you guys here on the digital media is, I'm multitasking, and I love talking to you guys, and I love trying to explain things. But the reality is I'm not always with you. So if I say something that doesn't fit the picture, realize there's other things going on out here, down here, and that's usually what's going on. As far as what this is here, you have to understand, everybody knows that fire is hot. That's kind of like the lamest thing to say sometimes, but when it's a bonfire, and that's basically what this is. This is just piles of wood that caught fire this morning. The heat that is generated from just that wood fire is so intense. Vinny, our cameraman, pointed out earlier on, we were watching aluminum melt before the fire actually got it, and that aluminum was on the side of a trailer. And so you have to understand how hot that is, and that kind of heat also will evaporate water. So the firefighters, basically, they can only do that. Is it defensive or offensive? It's defensive, right? Or offensive? Offensive? They're in defensive mode. I'm sorry, I need more coffee. But at any rate, what they do is, they set up the ladder pipes, and they actually won't make their way into that area because of the intensity of the heat. And it's safety, and it's not even safety. It's preserving their own life. It's that hot. And 30 out, copy all. I gotta go to work for Fox, guys. We got it for television. If you guys are local, turn on channel 11. We got plenty of news. Oh, that's awesome with the sun coming up. That's beautiful. You want to start wide, Vinny? All right. Look at that. I like the Rays. Standing by. But as soon as we do open, just go into, yeah. Roxy, Tony, Roxy, you are so right. We're watching the sun coming up. The sun's just starting to peak up, and you can see that smoke. Now, we're seeing a lot of really, really black smoke being added to the fire, and what that is right there is sadly all these buses that are burning down there. But for the most part, the morning, the fire has mostly been just wood products that have been burning, pallets, just straight out piles of wood that have been burning. But now all these luxury buses are burning down there. A lot of plastics, a lot of diesel, a lot of oil, a lot of rubber now starting to add to that mix. Take a look at how the smoke picture has changed. The firefighters down there, where is this? This is going to be in Compton. This is going to be, the small streets out here are going to be Webb and Santa Fe. But the majors, we're very, very close to Alameda. This fire continues to burn. No injuries to firefighters, but they are a long way from even getting this contained. I'm Stu up in Sky Fox. Back to you. I think they're having water issues. I really do. So, at any rate, I see Xiomara has joined the morning chat here as well. So, at any rate, and Xiomara has been very concerned about people understanding that this is behind the scenes and that what we're talking about is, basically, I'm talking to you as much as I can. But sometimes I have other conversations going on, and the voice might not match the picture. But again, now I have a few minutes to talk to you. We're in a commercial break once again. This fire out in the Compton area, and what we're finding out right now, and I really would love to know more about this, is they're having water issues. I've heard them talking about hydrants being dry, low pressure in other hydrants, and you can see the devastation down there. This fire continues to burn out here. They basically they've got a couple of ladder pipes up, but these buses now starting fire as that pallet yard fire is basically worked their way a little bit to the north and starting to take on a lot of these other small businesses out here as well. Now these firefighters, this is going to be Compton fire. That's because it is in the Compton area. The original firefighters, when they arrived out here, 1 minute away. Copy all. Copy all. Alex, you're talking about homes in the area. The homes are pretty far away. I don't think anybody's home is being threatened right now. Yeah, there are some apartments, and there's like homes across the way on the other major that's on the other side of Alameda there. But yeah, they're quite a distance away. How did it start? Oh my gosh, that is beyond my pay grade, and that's going to be somebody else's business. We'll find out maybe a month from now. Yeah, this thing is just going. And actually, if you guys are, I'm still talking to you guys on media, on the social media right now, at Facebook. This is actually, the black smoke is adding to it, but the flame, copy all, out of a commercial break. But the flames are actually less. It was a lot brighter. Yep. That's right, Tony and Roxy. Take a look at this. Now, that pallet fire, this started in the pallet yard. And for the most part, there are still quite a bit of pallets out there. But with the firefighters and the water that they're putting on, a lot of that fuel, and we're calling it fuel, those pallets right there, hopefully will not catch fire or not ignite. But most of that fire that we saw earlier on around the 5 o'clock hour, that is basically, as Vinny just said, is just ashes now. It has basically burned itself out. That fire has moved to the north. And what is to the north are buses, and those buses are completely engulfed in flames right now. You can see a row of them right there, a row to the other side, and then there's actually some more pallets. Don't know if it's from the same business or a neighboring business that are also on fire this morning. We saw some employees showing up and moving some of those buses out of the way. That, you know, might be preservation of property, but it also is helping the firefighters because it's less that can catch fire. And also those buses packed so closely together, if one goes, the heat will spread to the next one and to the next one. Now the firefighters that are down there, that's going to be Compton Fire, LA County Fire, Long Beach Fire, and then we understand possibly even Montebello Fire. But we're also hearing that they were having some water issues down there. They were trying to get a hold of some of those, hooking up to hydrants that were not putting out enough water to help battle these flames. So this just compounds the problems out here this morning. Vinny was showing that shot right there. I think what he was trying to tell me as a reporter is, hey, look at that pole. And this is kind of shows you that the intensity of the heat out here. That pole is coated with tar and some oil so it doesn't rot, but right now is just smoking with heat. And we've seen some of those transformers earlier this morning exploding down there, a couple of them at a time, and showering these firefighters with sparks and parts of metal. And also you can see right there, if you can really look on the left side, just pan a little to the left, you can actually see some of those wires down. Now after those explosions out there, you know, those wires come down. Are they energized? Are they not energized? This is just more hazards that the fire department has to deal with. And you can see them actually might even be putting water on that transformer. But this is an immense fire, with very dynamic. There's so many different parts of this, and these firefighters working together this morning, trying to keep these flames from spreading. But the flames just continue to burn. You can see those buses putting up that heavy, heavy black smoke, that lighter smoke, that gray smoke behind it. Most of that gray smoke just going to be wood. But now we're adding in a lot of these buses out here, so there's going to be a lot of oils and other fabrics and oil and tires and etc. burning, and it's just the fire just continues to go out here in the Compton area. Firefighters doing what they can, and it seems like they have a lot of obstacles thrown up against them this morning, just making this firefight more and more difficult. Yep. Yeah, shoot through the sun. Alma, the homes they aren't right next to it. They are pretty far away. I'm just starting to read some of your comments right there. But yeah, the homes are farther away, much farther away. All right, so Vinny's going to show you the closest ones. They're clearly on the other side of the street. And is that an apartment building? Okay, there's a little bit of an apartment building right there. But those folks are safe right now. They might not have power. That might be part of it. So, at any rate, we're continuing to watch these firefighters doing what they can to battle these flames down there. And this is the thing. It's like I kind of mentioned it in that last hit. If you guys were listening to that one as well, you know, basically these guys and gals down there, they have been thrown up obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. Originally, the obstacle was access to the fire, then how to deal with that fire because of the intense heat. Then we started seeing power lines coming down. Yep, some more right there in the shot, if you just saw it right there by that fence. So it just becomes more and more difficult, and then we're starting to hear problems with water pressure. That just adds and adds and adds to what's going on down there. We haven't heard any injuries. We did see some employees down there. So I'm sorry, and this is what I was trying to mention earlier on. You know, if you hear me stop and kind of snicker and stuff like that, I'm not laughing about the scene at all. We're multitasking out here. This is kind of behind the scenes. I'm going to say it. It's like we're going to stop trying to justify or clarify things if you don't know it by now. Come on, guys. So at any rate, we're continuing to watch this fire burn out there, and this is kind of the deal. It sounds almost sad or ridiculous, but it was a news editor's joke to me one time. Is, you know, what are you going to say about a fire? Well, the firefighters are going to the fire's going to burn until the firefighters put it out, and that's kind of what really is happening today. Is we're watching this, and it is just so intense and so packed down there. What? The heat, radiated heat. Yep. Vinny's talking about how the radiated heat, we were talking about that earlier on, what the firefighters are dealing with. That fire is, you know, you can see it. It's one of those 6 feet apart or so, so that's 6, 12, 18, almost 20 feet distance right there. And also it's wet, and you can see those pallets starting to catch fire, starting to smoke. That's probably steam and or oils from the wood. That's going to be the first to go, and then it will just ignite from the heat. And this is the, you know, basically how this fire is just moving along down there. Those buses, those are victims of the fire in themselves. And it's the same thing. They will try to slow the progression of the fire. They will try to save the buses that have not burned. But the ones that are on fire this morning, they're pretty much just a loss, because it's just too much effort to try to stop that. They're just going to let that burn, and it's not in any kind of negative sense. This is the only way they can actually battle these flames this morning. Right there, this is something firefighters definitely don't want to see. This is a civilian up on a roof with basically what's a hose line, another civilian. We've been watching this morning as a lot of people, employees down there, doing what they can to help, but it is just, you know, are they trained professionals? I would venture to say no, and we're just kind of there watching and doing what they can. There you go, some more power lines going off right there. So that's a live wire hanging right there. Just pan down. Let's stay on that for a minute. And Sandra's talking about that. Power lines are down, and this is just more of the hazards. What we're saying, that these firefighters just getting tossed more and more and more obstacles this morning. They just have not been able to catch a break. So you can see right there clearly one of those power lines just down, arcing on the back of that old Mercedes right there. Nice car, by the way. And it just continues to happen. And these firefighters, they're trained. They understand how all this works. But we also understand how water and electricity don't mix. And this is something else they just have to deal with this morning. The firefight itself, you know, the actual pallet yard, almost in ashes right now. The one building that I'm really concerned about, and I'm sure the firefighters know about this as well, is that one is Vinny just to the right there, where those hoppers are up on the rooftop. That's an area where that's basically where they make the pallets. That's a wood shop, and those hoppers might be filled with just straight out sawdust. And we've seen these in the past, and when those kind of go, there's really very little the firefighters can do about it. Some of them have water suppression systems built into them. We don't know how this one is set up, but it is just more of something that these firefighters might have to tackle. Vinny, you can find that car again if they come to us, right? I don't see it arcing anymore. It is a little bit. Yeah, there it goes. There it goes again. Yeah. Right. Right. Oh, yeah. I know. It explodes. Yeah. Shauna Landers is that's actually if it wasn't such a dangerous situation, I'd probably say that same thing myself. With the hopper one? Oh. Still hot on Fox. Copy all. Yeah, Gabby, a lot of people are talking about on the internet, Vinny, they're talking about those two guys up there on that rooftop watching that fire. And it's extremely dangerous for those guys to be there. Clearly, it's their property. They are going to do what they want to do. But and I don't know if those are the same guys we saw earlier, basically moving those moving the pallets and propane tanks, which probably in the end was helpful, especially the people that showed up and started moving those buses out of the way. Not just saving property, but also helping that firefight by getting it. I say that bus is going to become fuel. It is. That's really what it is. It's going to become fuel for that fire. Something in that center of that fire is really, really starting to put up a lot of billowing black smoke. So that's probably going to be some sort of structure, or maybe vehicles, or maybe most likely maybe a shed with vehicles in it, because there's a ton of black smoke just bellowing out of the center of that fire. Could be some ash. Yeah. So in that building right there, in the lower part of the screen, there's a fence around it. So okay, so that there is a fence, so there is some sort of separation. But if that starts going, this is going to pretty much just we're going to be revisiting that pallet fire once again. If that building that we see in the center of the screen, or the bottom of the screen there, go up. But you can see, though, what's left of those buses down there, basically just the basic framework is left, as that fire just rips through those buses this morning. We were talking about what those things cost, not that it is, that we're like, oh, money, but, hey, that's somebody's business, and hopefully everything is insured. But those were expensive vehicles, and numbers of them. They got that dog walker being shot, that video going, and again, you have to understand, we're wearing headsets up here, and you've got that poor person that got shot a couple times wailing. It's at any rate. You can see that some employees down there, probably some folks in the neighborhood, people coming to work this morning, seeing what's going on. It is devastating. There's going to be a lot of also, human stories involved in this. Folks that won't be able to go to work today, tomorrow, maybe the next day. And right now, having a job is a big deal. And the number of businesses that are going to be affected by these flames permanently. And then also just today, where they won't be able to make access or get in there. But, life and injury, that's probably the biggest thing that we're always concerned about. I can happily say we've heard no injuries. We've heard nobody's, no firefighters, no civilians, any kind of injuries at all. So that is really a huge plus. At any rate, just do a little selfish promotion right here. If you want to follow us on Facebook or on Instagram or on Twitter, those are my big three. You can find me. I try to be as interactive as possible. I kind of bounce between the three platforms, but it's Stu_Mundel or Stu Mundel. You can find me. It's pretty easy if you spell my name right. It's not Mandel. I wish I was a Mandel. At least those guys got big money. I'm not an A. I'm a U. So just something to think about right there. But at any rate, how many alarms is this? That's a good one too. They bumped it up right away. When Compton Fire first arrived out here, it bumped up to a 3 alarm. So this is, and because of the multiple agencies, I can't say. If this was a LA City Fire deal, it'd probably be definitely be a major emergency fire. I know LA County Fire's down there, and really, even if they had more units on scene, if they don't have the water, it doesn't really make any difference. They just have more bodies that can basically help in one way or another. That water situation is something that just really, really upsets me and worries me about what's going on down there. People are asking where this is. Yes. It's going to be Compton. It's going to be the actual little streets. The little streets down there are going to be Weber and Santa Fe. Weber and Santa Fe. Very close to the 105 and 710. And Alameda is the major street that's nearby. Maria, as far as the human, the human aspect, the people that that live in the area, they're going to be affected job-wise. Somebody was kind enough to point out that there is an apartment building pretty much on the block, but it is the farthest from any of the flames. They might not have power right now, but as far as the actual fire itself, what was that? I don't know what's happening, Stu. You are blink serious. Look it up. I don't understand, Steve. I don't understand. At any rate, so we definitely that's something that everybody's concerned about. How is this going to affect? 2.5. Copy all. There's a great shot too. Look at that. Look at that. That is the heat. That's the air moving from the heat, sucking those flames down, and then back up into that actual fire itself. And you just think, look at that. It is like a waterfall of fire coming down right there. And this is what the firefighters are dealing with. This is what they, people are saying, well, why aren't they in there with the hose lines? I'm not going in there, and I don't think you would want to send any of your loved ones. Oh, it's a reflection, you think? I think that, okay. Oh, and the pallets are falling. Yeah. So, and I got you. We're back. We'll be back. I always hear you guys. You're the loudest in my ear, next to Vinny and Angie, and the Facebook Live folks. Diana says that, Stu, that's a reflection. Thank you, Diana. We're reflecting on this story. Her last name is Bosch. Basically, these firefighters are babysitting a fire, just kind of letting it, and I don't mean that in any kind of mean way, but that's all they can really do right now, is they're just kind of, letting the stuff burn that they can control, and trying not to let it spread to other stuff. And back to the whole people in the neighborhood, the homes themselves, simply put, are pretty far away from the actual flames themselves. Ba-dum-bump. Stuart London is asking me about the water droppers. We did a whole piece on. I got to say, Frosty, we're going live. Up. Yeah, we're going to have to go for fuel soon. Surround and drowned. Yeah, they're on defensive. This is kind of the, I'm saying choppy because they might be coming to us any second now. Araxia, Tony, the fire continues to burn out here, and it's far from being contained. But I can say in a positive light that the firefighters from the multiple agencies down there have been doing an amazing job in keeping this fire from spreading to business to business to business. Right now, though, you can still see a lot of heavy black smoke. You can still see a lot of fire down there. Vinny had a shot earlier on. We were watching as one of the power lines that was down just continued to arc, and these firefighters were safely nearby, clearly seeing this, and probably can even hear it, and continuing to battle flames right next to these down power lines that were energized. And this is just one of the small things that the firefighters, one of the huge things that firefighters had to deal with this morning. They just had obstacle after obstacle thrown against them as they tried to battle these flames. First was access to the actual pallet yard itself. It wasn't right there on the street. It was kind of buried behind other businesses. Compton Fire arriving out here, that fire well established when they arrived, though access was the first problem. Then the next problem was getting other agencies involved to help them battle the fire. Then the fire started spreading, jumping from place to place to place. Then they had electrical issues. They had power lines coming down. We saw some dramatic photos from the Skyfox this morning where power lines were exploding and falling and showering the firefighters with sparks. And now we're hearing that they're having some water pressure issues. So how are they? Everything has been thrown up against these firefighters this morning, and they continue to battle this fire the best they can with what they have. And you can see they are technically making, not even technically, they really are making some progress. A lot of the fire itself, that pallet fire, you know, the pallets themselves, most of them, you're seeing a pile right here, but what's burning, or what was burning, is probably 10 times, if not more, than what we're seeing in that picture. That has basically burned itself out. Other businesses, they're still trying to protect some of those buildings and then some of the property down there. Sadly, we saw a number of buses that are still on fire. Again, this is happening in the Compton area. The actual major crosses out here are going to be Alamedas and Santa Fe, are the major crosses out here. And then, of course, this is the actual street is going to be Weber and Santa Fe. And these firefighters, they just continue to battle these flames. They must be getting tired and exhausted, but they keep putting up the fight, and the flames continue to burn. But I'm thinking the firefighters are starting to get an upper hand on this. I'm Stu up in Skyfox. Really? Steel, well, at least it's steel and not wood. Okay. Oh, all right, copy. That's about 7 minutes. Right. Copy all. Top of the 7, clear for fuel. Yeah, it looks like a mobile home park nearby, but that's still on the other side of the major. And I wanted to do that earlier on. I get some street names. Come on, iPad. All right, so that's El Segundo and Alameda. El Segundo and Alameda, and Weber and Alameda is where the major crosses are. And the wind is starting to pick up now that the sun is out. Yeah. So. Yep, Catherine, that's about right. It's pretty much the, just ash, a pile of ash, and that's, and they don't mean that in any kind of slight or anything like that. It's just the only way they can really battle it. And these firefighters continue to have obstacles thrown up against them. They have issues that they're dealing with, and it's just, how do you fight that? How do you get in there? And then I don't know if there's a coordination. Copy all. So Arlet, yes, I can. Okay. Okay, and the car sparking, that's the power line. It's the Mercedes, right? It's daylight footage. Okay, cool, cool. And I call for that, or are you just going to roll it? I call for it. Okay, copy all. Arlet's asking if we can do a 360. We were doing 360s earlier on, but the deal is in one point the smoke is starting to move and dropping down, and it'll. It's not that we're like don't want to fly through the smoke. It's not, and it's also not even a safety issue. It's just a bad picture. We were doing that earlier on, and I don't know the number of businesses that are actually on fire. Scott's asking about what happened with the guy with the gun. He clearly was taken into custody at some point, and that was in the Reseda area earlier on, talking about other stories. But we've got all this goodness going on right here. Javier, a lot of people have been asking about why they're not doing water drops. We talked about that just a few moments ago. Water drops from a helicopter, it would just spread the fire, and I'm being serious about that. We've seen in the past, water weighs a lot, and when they stop and drop it like that, it is just going to basically, we've actually seen demonstrations by the county fire department where they smash vehicles by dropping water. Now you drop a bunch of water on a pile of fire like that, it's going to throw that fire in all directions and create more problems. Also, there's going to be an issue of where they're going to get that water from. And if somebody says, well, don't they have a way to control it? Yeah, they do. But if you start misting it, that water will literally evaporate before it actually hits the fire itself. So that's one of the reasons. Copy. Live on channel. And so that's one of the reasons why they're not using any type of aerial attack on this at all. Also, it's a multi-agency task force. So I'm pretty sure Compton doesn't have any kind of aerial firefighting equipment. They do have LA County down there, and they have some of the finest helicopters and water dropping equipments in Los Angeles. But again, it is just too dangerous to use a water dropping helicopter on a situation like this. And so that's the reason why it's real. Standing by. Roxy, Tony, that's right. And if people are just joining us this morning and seeing this picture for the first time and saying this is progress, it really is. These flames were so intense. Tony, the word inferno, it really encapsulates what was going on out here. Earlier morning when we arrived, we were here around 5 in the morning. These flames could be seen from all the way out in the Cahuenga Pass. I just heard him say that they're rolling tape. This is firefighters from multiple agencies out here in the Compton area have been fighting these flames, and they've been having obstacle after obstacle thrown up against them. One of the obstacles was wires down, and I believe that tape is playing or had been playing, but that shows you really that is a live wire that's right there next to these firefighters battling these flames. Now, those firefighters clearly know that's going on, and they are staying safe, but that is just one little piece of what's been going on out here this morning. We've had transformers exploding, dropping high voltage wires onto and near fire trucks earlier on, showering them with sparks. Another problem that the firefighters had when they first arrived out here, it was Compton Fire first arriving at Weber and Santa Fe, and they had this fire that was well established in a pallet yard. Pallets are just piles of wood, so it was very hot, it was very intense, and also they had access problems. So and now what the last one they have is we're hearing they're having water pressure issues. So these firefighters doing what they can to keep these flames contained. It has been in at least a couple of different businesses. Araxia pointed out those buses are going up right there. So right now, this actually does look better as this fire continues to burn, but it's far from out, again, happening in the Compton area. I'm Stu up in Skyfox. Back to you guys in the studio. Yeah, I think, what do we got? We got another 5? Okay, we got about another 5 or 10. 5 to 10, and we got to go. So I'm still back with you guys here on Facebook. We're gonna have to be going. What's actually I'm listening to a Verdugo TAC, which I think is actually is a duplicate of some kind of TAC channel that's down there, and it sounds like it's LA County firefighters talking back and forth. That was for Scott, was asking me what I was listening to it on. We're in a backup helicopter, and this scanner is beyond ancient. And not happy about that, because I really like to listen to what's going on and hearing what those guys on the ground are doing. So, and Stephanie, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know when we started the live footage out here, the digital footage, but we've been here since 5 in the morning. That's one of the reasons why we're talking about having to go get fuel here in a little bit. Well, the fuel turn is going to we'll probably be back by 8-ish, I'm hoping. That's to be honest with you. And James, we never, and believe me, we never run out of fuel, but we basically have a point where we have to go in for fuel, and it's all calculated, and it's all policies also, that pilots have to follow policies. So that's what's going on right there. Yep. Thank you, Suzanne, for pointing out the obvious. I love it when people do that. I said I don't know how long we've been on digital media, and she pointed out there's a live counter at the top there. So we've been on for 1 hour, 1 minute. But at any rate, we're continuing to watch this fire. Yes, I am snickering and laughing, and it is because I'm answering some of the questions out here that we're talking about. Ricardo's asking about the helicopter and fuel. We've got it's basically, for this helicopter, it's about 2 hours. 2 hours from when we lift off to when we need to get back on the ground. Somebody was asking about injuries. As far as we understand, no injuries to civilians, no injuries to any of the firefighters. I was watching when the first started. It was huge. There were like 2 explosions. I'm not sure if hey, Rob is watching. Rob Burnson. Somebody was asking about the explosions, or talking about the explosions. There have been several explosions. We've been okay, copy all. Okay, but we have to go for fuel, right? All right. I didn't get an answer, but I'm sure she knows. Joanne obviously knows me pretty well, because she's making comments about my phone not dying. I'm actually listening to these guys talk on the ground. I want to try to get some more info from what the reporters are picking up down there. But yeah, shot is hot. Copy all. So yeah, the deal is, somebody was talking about the explosions. We had transformers going down. We've had propane tanks exploding. We've had smaller propane tanks exploding. We've had tires on those buses exploding. So if you live in the area, I'm sure you've heard a lot of that. They reported luxury buses able to move the. Yes, we actually watched as some folks got in there and actually moved some of those buses out of the way, and a school bus out of the way. Also, we saw the employees of that pallet yard, or what's left of that pallet yard, actually moving some, trying to move some pallets. And I'm kind of snickering, because it is such a look at that. I mean, they were. Yeah, they were trying to help. It was like a drop of water in the ocean, but they were doing what they could. So, at any rate, the fire is basically burning itself out, and in a way, some folks that might just be listening to us or joining us right now, they're probably saying, well, gee, why didn't if you need to rewind this broadcast and figure it out. These guys have been up against so much this morning, guys and gals from the different fire departments, and what was burning is pallets, it's piles of wood, and that generates so much heat. And so basically they were doing what they could, but they've been having obstacle after obstacle, making it so difficult for them to battle these flames. And there you go. That's a great, that Vinny's got a great before and after picture right there. So this is what was in that yard, and this was probably a good, what do you say that is? An acre, 2 acres? 2 to 3 acres of just pallets. And if you pan up a little bit, you can just see the piles of ash, and that's basically what's been going on out here. There's also been a huge, Shauna, that's hilarious. There's actually been a, inside these, that generating so much heat, and inside that pallet yard itself, there's other business things, meaning trucks, buildings, forklifts, um, outbuildings, and all that stuff was catching fire as well. Then they were having problems with the electrical. They had transformers exploding, lines coming down. Copy all. What's that? Right. Yep. Peter, you're exactly right. They're probably going to have to bring in heavy equipment. Once most of that fire is knocked down, they're probably going to be bringing in excavators to move this stuff around and make sure that all that fire is out. Jessica. I'm down for some Zumba. Cindy, that how that fire started, that's going to be for investigators, and they're going to be here for quite some time before they actually have any kind of information. And clearly, the first thing right now is to get this fire out, and then they'll probably be doing some sort of investigation. There's a drone down there. I wonder if it's a station drone or if it's somebody from the neighborhood. Okay, I think we're going to start talking about leaving this scene because we need to make our way to get some fuel. But I just wanted to throw out, somebody was asking some of the basics. I'm sorry that has been thrown out there a couple times. This is in the city of Compton. We're probably 1, 2, 3 small blocks away from Alameda. We are just south of the 105 and just west of the 710. Those are the major areas out here. Somebody's saying those buses are $1 million, almost $2 million a piece. I believe that. We were talking about that earlier on. At any rate, the fire continues to burn. Skyfox continues to burn fuel, and we're going to need to put some more fuel in it. So we're going to be leaving the scene here in just a moment. I'm going to make some calls, let everybody know. And believe me, I love the love here on Facebook. I love answering questions. You guys are asking some of the great questions out there. And we're going to make our way to Long Beach for fuel. Don't know if the shot's going to stay up. If it does, I'm sure Vinny's just going to kind of lock the camera out front, and you can watch us make our way to Long Beach for fuel. But everybody stay safe. Have a great day. We love the love. Some selfless promotion. Stu _Mundel, Mundel, Mundel. You can find me on social media. Follow me. Say hello. I try to stay entertaining. I'll talk to you guys shortly. Hey, Skyfox, time at desk. Hola, you have a thirsty bird, and we are going to Long Beach for fuel. Long Beach. Yeah. 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 It's because, yeah, that's how they're going to, somebody wrote that too in there. It's like, that's how they're going to put the fire out. There's going to be no more fuel. Ooh, it smells like Smells like campfire. Yeah, that burned. Yeah, there. They were saying that's. Oh yeah. No, we got to go. Yeah. I'm not sure if we're still live, but if we are, that's us. That's us flying away.